Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this fifth and final horror multi-pack review video as part of my April 2022 series, where I've taken a look at several different multi-packs, horror multi-packs that I have in my collection. Um, so today we're going to take a look at the final one that I've decided to do for this month, and that's more of a thriller pack. We got Dario Argento's Phantom of the Opera from 1998. We got Minotaur from 1995. We have Wicked Ways from 99, and we have The Fourth Floor from 99. So some late 90s thrillers, basically. Illumination. They're all Illumination. I don't know if that's like the company that put this out or something. I'm not really sure, but they're all late 90s thrillers. Phantom of the Opera is considered to be, that it's called when you look it up, a horror movie, but the other three are thrillers. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I'll just start by going through each one in the order that I watched them over the last week. So the first one I watched was Minotaur. Minotaur. I think that's pronouncing it right. The tagline is Two Destinies Locked in Eternity, based on the novel by Benjamin Tamez. And it stars Dan Turgensen, Mila Avidal, and Josh Lucas. So, Minotaur is an interesting film because, well, the negative of it is it's not really a horror or a thriller. It kind of reminds me more of like a drama slash love tragedy kind of movie, sort of a different take on the Romeo and Juliet story, if you will. It's not a badly made movie, though. I'll say that. I mean, when I started watching it, I did finish it. So even though it didn't have any horror elements, or I would argue even not a lot of thriller elements, there might have been three scenes in the entire movie that had some thrilling moments. It was more or less a love story between this guy played by Turgaman. Did I say Turgensen before? Dan Turgaman, who's like uh, he, he's like a hitman or something. This is an Israeli film, I should say that. He's a secret agent on a dangerous mission, and he meets this young lady played by Millie Avidal, who's like a high school college gal. And then she basically finds herself torn between two loves, these two guys, and things happen. And it's an interesting movie. It's a well made movie, well acted, especially by these two. They do a good job. But like I said, the ending was kind of predictable. I saw it coming 10 minutes before it did. And it's just not. It's not a horror or a thriller movie that belongs being reviewed on this channel. That's the bottom line. I mean, if I was in the mood to watch a Romeo and Juliet slash drama kind of take on Romeo and Juliet drama tragedy, then this would be a good movie to watch. So I will say that it was well made, but doesn't fit into the thriller horror for this channel. So that's that one. Then next I watched Wicked Ways. This movie stars Michael Rooker and Rebecca De Mornay, which is really the most notable thing about this movie. Yeah, so this is basically about a man played by Michael Rooker who lives a double life. He's got two wives. Neither of them know about each other, it would seem. One's out in the skirts, out in the middle of nowhere, and the other one's right in the big city or the suburbs, and things sort of secrets are revealed and things start to ratchet up. Now, Rebecca De Mornay really makes this movie. I mean, she's really the standout. Michael Rooker's good too. The movie's a bit of a mess overall, though. It doesn't entirely work. It's like the first half of the movie they try to introduce these two lives, and then like once they get to the second half of the movie, they just have to basically throw away everything from the first half of the movie, and we just focus on the thrills and not horror. There's no horror in it really. It's definitely a thriller. Um, but yeah, the acting's what saves this movie. But the story is pretty messy. The direction's pretty messy. I did kind of enjoy the ending of it. It has like a double, and you could even say a triple twist involving him and her, and then there's a neighbor too that lives close by. And they basically they all have their own plans basically, and only one actually comes to fruition. of the three of them, but they kind of have different twists that go on. So that was kind of enjoyable. But how we got there, they try to set up some characters and not others, and then they just ignore some characters, and it's the movie itself's a bit of a mess. But I did kind of enjoy it because of these two leads, Michael Rooker and Rebecca De Mornay, who are a great actor and actress respectively. But the movie's a mess, but it is a thriller. So that's that one from '99, and then we go on to the fourth floor. This one stars William Hurt and Juliette Lewis. Um, this one's about a young woman played by Juliette Lewis who's never lived alone and decides to move into an apartment by herself instead of with her boyfriend, who's played by William Hurt. And at first glance, the neighborhood seems enchanting and neighbors are friendly, but things quickly turn bizarre and evil lurks beneath the floorboards. Yeah, it kind of goes from there. So I actually enjoyed this as a thriller. I think once again the performances, William Hurt and Juliette Lewis do a really good job in this movie. And even though the movie itself has a lot of cliches and a lot of sort of predictable setup pieces, and for a lot of people, I could see the reveal, if you will, at the end not really working for him or being a bit flat or a bit of a disappointment. I don't know. It worked well enough for me, even though it does sort of strain credulity just a little bit, and you kind of just have to go with it. But as a thriller goes, I kind of enjoy hotel or apartment settings when it comes to like thrillers or horrors. So it kind of scored some points with me there to begin with. But really, the performances and the character development of the two main characters, and that's really what makes this movie watchable and good to me. Um, so yeah, that's the fourth floor, also from '99. And then finally, we get to the one I watched most recently, which is Dario Argento's Phantom of the Opera. This is the unrated director's cut with Julian Sands and Asia Argento, which is his real life daughter. Um, this is a weird ass movie, man. I'll be the first to admit I haven't read Phantom of the Opera, the book, and I actually hadn't seen any of the other versions. I know there's one with Lon Chaney from like the 20s or the 30s, which has a really frightening scene in it that's pretty well known. And I know there's newer versions, one with Robert Englund. I know Hammer did one, but I kind of have a gist of what the story's supposed to be, and this isn't really what the story's supposed to be. Dario Argento definitely went off on his own, took the idea of it. I mean, the Phantom in this movie he's not deformed, he doesn't wear a mask. He's a guy with long hair that basically lives with rats, um, sort of in the underground of this opera house. And yeah, a lot of things just don't work with this movie. Other people have spoken about it as well before, and I concur with them. Like I said, even having not been a big fan of the opera, I've seen all the different movies that are out there, having read the book. Yeah, it just doesn't really work. Now the movie does have typical Dario Argento gore and blood, and there's a lot of tits. There's a lot of nudity and sex, which they don't really hold back on much. A lot of, um, especially the nudity. I mean, just about everybody's nude in one scene of this movie. And there's a couple scenes. One's a sex scene. One's supposed to be like a rape scene. I think there's another sex scene. I don't know. So all those sort of tropes are there for you. The problem is a lot of the kills, though, are CGI kills or CGI deaths, and they look ridiculous. There's one scene in particular towards the end of the movie when he goes and basically hammers on a wall to knock down like a big chandelier to come down on people. And as this thing's falling, one of the leads in the opera is actually running away from it. It's the cheesiest, hokiest thing you've ever seen in your life. It ends up hitting her on the head, but the angle that they shoot it with and the CGI that's used, the green screen that she's running in front of or whatever, it's just this movie just doesn't really work on any level. I thought Julian Sands was okay. Asia Argento was up and down, a very uneven performance in my opinion. Um, yeah, I don't know. This movie just doesn't work. It's definitely the most disappointing of these four. When I picked this up, I thought, ooh, Dario Argento, Phantom of the Opera. This will be the cream of the crop of these four movies. No, no, it wasn't. It was the most disappointing. And I might say it's probably the worst of these four movies. If I had to sit down and watch them, I mean, it's probably the fourth one I'd go to because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And unless you're just about nudity and sex and cheap gore that's CGI filled, then this ain't gonna be your movie. So if I had to rank them, first of all, I'll say that there's not really enough here for me to keep this. So this is going to be another one that I get rid of. This four pack here. There's really only one movie here, and I've already actually ordered it and got it singularly of these four movies. I'll give you a few seconds to try to guess which of the four that it is. If you think it's this one, you're sadly mistaken. Um, so yeah, is it Wicked Ways? Is it Minotaur? Is it the fourth floor? Is it Phantom of the Opera? Well, it is the fourth floor. This one had just enough for me because of the performances, because of the thriller, the setting. Um, I should have mentioned too, the ending also, like the very end of this movie, right before the ending credits, kind of has a twist as well. And at first, I didn't really like it, but actually, when I think back and think about the whole movie, it kind of does make sense. It isn't one of those twists that comes completely out of nowhere. And actually, like I said, as you think about it, it actually fits. So they did a pretty good job of setting it up. If you've seen this movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But there's something that's revealed at the very end, right before the ending credits, to make you realize, like, wow, that's crazy. And like I said, a lot of times they try to do this with thrillers or horror movies, and it's just tacked on to leave you with a kind of moment. But in this movie, it actually, I have to say, thinking back on it, actually does work. It's not a tacked on ending. So it works. This movie overall works well enough for me to pay $5 for it, which is basically what I'm getting it for on a single release. The rest of these three, like I said, this just isn't horror thriller. This was a big disappointment, a jumbled mess of shit. And this one, like I said, I like the two lead actress, Rebecca De Mornay and Michael Rooker. The movie itself doesn't work well enough for me. I know it is out there on a single release. I actually did think about buying it, but at this time, I'm not really going to worry about it. I'm just going to go with this one, and I'm going to go ahead and sell this four pack. So yeah, that's my review of the late '90s thriller four pack that I have here with these four movies. Let me know if you've seen any of these movies, if you have this four pack, or if you've seen these movies, what your thoughts about it. Did you like Phantom of the Opera? Do you like Minotaur? Do you think it's more of a thriller than I do? Do you think the fourth floor is not as good as I do? Do you think Wicked Ways is better or worse than I do? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Um, so yeah, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this series. I did 5 multi-pack horror thriller sets from my collection. I'm selling 2 of them, and I'm holding on to 3 of them. So that's a pretty good ratio. I'll probably do another month of this because I have a shit ton of these multi-packs, and it gives me a good reason to watch them. Probably later this year or something. I'll try to do another 4 or 5 at some point. So, but I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you enjoyed this particular review with these thrillers. Um, Please comment down below, as I mentioned. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my great horror content, including I'll be having a video come out probably tomorrow, last day of April, to talk about what I got coming up for May. I have about the next 4 or 5 months planned out. So be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the great horror content. I think you'll really enjoy it. So thank you for watching this video, for watching this series. I hope everybody's doing well. Have a great day and stay scared. Bye.